Could be a secret weapon for the Arizona Diamondbacks in 2021. Jon Duplantier, a terrific college career, 6'4" right-hander. Guy's got nasty stuff. Was the number 15 prospect according to MLB.com. You see his numbers in 4 minor league seasons before he made his debut in the big leagues. Diamondbacks have high hopes for Duplantier. Now, among his accolades was his willingness to take part in a recent roundtable discussion called Being Black in Baseball and America. It was hosted by my dear friend Harold Reynolds, and it featured Josh Bell, Nationals pitcher Sterling Sharp, and Sharon Robinson, the daughter of Jackie Robinson. Wow. Now, Jon Duplantier joins us now here on MLB Tonight. Jon, good to see you. You were so impressive in that roundtable. What was that experience like for you, and what was the feedback? What kind of feedback did you get from it?
Mixed emotions. Well, first of all, appreciate you having me. This is cool, and that experience was one that was both terrifying, but fulfilling. You know, it was kind of nice to kind of get a weight off our shoulders, and I felt like the league and the teams and other players, it just gave us the space to get out and talk and just put stuff out in the open and feel good about it.
Yeah, and you were great. You know, part of the space to talk is to tell stories of racism that you may have faced in your life. And during that discussion, you told a story about your high school playing days. Do you mind telling that again?
Yeah, I mean, it was a real long story, but I was the only black baseball player on our team. And it was a bunch of guys that I grew up with and went to school with. And essentially I was playing first base and just heard some chirping from the dugout and pretty much just had a player yell, "Hey, we got a rope in a tree with your name on it," you know? And it ended up being one of those moments where fight or flight took over, and I just got lost in it and really kind of could have put myself in a position that I could have ruined a situation where I was going to go to Rice. And then little did I know I was going to end up playing professional baseball, you know, and having a black umpire actually right behind me at first base when it happened could be my saving grace. You know, who knows what would have happened if he hadn't gotten in front of me and looking at somebody who looked like me and said, "Hey, it's not worth it. Take a breath, calm down. You're going to be all right." Having somebody that looked like me and kind of could experience or had experienced things that maybe I was experienced, it was good for me in that moment, you know. And it was one of those things that you kind of it happened, and I just buried it for a long time. Some things came up in the weeks afterwards that I couldn't explain in the moment, and looking back and reflecting now I can, you know. So it was just one of those things where you kind of realize that representation matters, and you don't really know why until you figure out why.
Yeah.
You know, so.
The umpire, who you said looks like you, he had your back in that moment. Did your teammates?
Yeah, so the umpire had my back, and my teammates in the moment didn't have my back. And it's not that they didn't have my back in general. I don't think they knew what was going on. I really believe that they didn't know what was going on because some of those guys on that team were my best friends, you know, and their hearts are pure. They're good guys. You know, there wasn't a situation where I was like, oh, I'm playing with a bunch of dudes that I'm just playing with them, you know, like we were friends. We grew up together. It was just in that it happened so fast, and I didn't know how to. It wasn't like I was just like, "Hey guys, what? Come on!" And in that moment, that umpire was like, "Whoa, we're gonna just nip this in the bud right now. Hey, take a breath. Let's keep it pushing." And I didn't address it, you know, and we didn't make a big debacle about it. It was just one of those things that it was almost like, "Hey, it happened. All right, cool. Let's just try and keep it pushing."
Mm. Yeah. You wrote an op-ed for The Athletic that was incredible. It was a letter to the next generation. Why did you do it, and what was the message that you wanted to give?
You know, I think in times like we're in right now, you know, everybody processes things differently, and you find ways to I guess, cope. You know, I didn't know how I wanted to say something, whether it was did I want to get out there and express myself through an Instagram post, a tweet, a Facebook post, you know, did I want to take a video? You know, there's a lot of guys that just made IGTV videos on Instagram, and just got on a camera and spoke. None of that really felt right. And so kind of just thinking about, you know, how do I want to deal with this, or how do I want to express what I'm feeling in this moment? I was just on a flight, and I felt it, you know. I was like, you know what, I'm gonna start writing down, just typing it out on the computer. And that was my way of doing it. You know, I had a very good friend of mine actually made a Apple Music playlist, you know, and some people there's just different ways of expression. And mine, even though I'm not a writer by any means, I would have never thought I would be writing an op-ed ever. It just felt right in the moment, you know.
Well, your writing was brilliant. I read it. You're brilliant. You had a chance to play quarterback at Yale. So you grew up playing football and baseball, but you wanted to play baseball. Did you pick two different cultures there? How do you feel race in that sport, which you could have gone to Yale and played that sport, compared to race in baseball?
You know, that wasn't actually anything, that had nothing to do with my decision. My decision actually ended up being a function of, I wanted to be closer to my mom, you know? Mm-hmm. I liked the possibility that my parents could watch every game. But also, I think since that moment, since I decided to play baseball over football, I definitely have noticed there's just a difference in culture, you know? But in that moment, I never thought about it. You know, I think I understood it. It was my football friends were different from my baseball friends, but in high school, my football friends were also my baseball friends. But I definitely did understand that there at times was a cultural difference between the sports. But it never really bothered me or resonated with me or struck me as an issue.
And finally, Jon, on this Martin Luther King Day, what comes to your mind as you think of the great MLK?
So much gratitude, first and foremost. I think every year it's like, man, the opportunities that I've been afforded because that man did something so diligent and was a great leader. And not only him, but other leaders across this country, you know. His wife, I mean, shoot, there's so much gratitude in that. But especially this year, more than other years, I'm just sad, man. I'm sad, you know, because I was sitting there thinking, and I was actually, you know, I was looking at some MLK quotes, and it was like, man, a lot of these quotes have to do with looking out for one another, you know, talking about we could all come together and do this and play and live and laugh and love and, you know, standing up for people who are having injustice done on them, you know, even if it's not people like you that look like you. I just feel like there's not a lot of that. I just feel like there's a lot of stuff being put out that just shows the opposite, you know, and it's just like, man, just wish everybody could come together and just treat each other, treat every woman like it's your mother and your mother and your sister. Treat every guy like it's your father and your brother, you know, and if you treat everybody like you want to be treated, you really like a lot of these issues be ironed out, you know, the big stuff. I think we'd just be better off for it. And I feel like in a moment, on a day where we celebrate his legacy and his life, today I was like, man, it doesn't feel like, it feels like we took a step backwards in some instances, you know. And so I'm looking forward to the day where we can say, hey, no, we took 2 steps forward.
We took 2 steps forward by having you on the show, my friend. Jon Duplantier, outstanding, man. And I recommend everyone to go to The Athletic and read your piece. It was beautifully written.
I appreciate that.
Good luck in Arizona in 2021. Hopefully you have a great and healthy season. And thank you once again, okay?
No, thank you. Thank you.